Another chapter in the Deep South's oldest rivalry takes place this Saturday between the hedges. 1892, first time this game taken off. Another chapter Saturday. Welcome into the DGD Podcast. I'm Robert. That's Dan. Dan, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. I am tired. It has nothing to do with the content on this show. I promise you that. Just I am a tired human right now, so I'm gonna muscle through this thing.
We are cooking like fish fry, man. Really. It's Auburn week. We are well into it, and we've got a lot to talk about, man. Another, this is my rivalry, right? I know a lot of Georgia fans love Auburn. This is my rivalry. This is my one. I look forward to this game every year.
Really?
Every year. Yes. Yes. I cannot stand Auburn. I can't stand Florida, but there's a different level for me at Auburn. So that's just where I'm at with it. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's jump in. Let's jump straight into this. But first things first, the show is brought to you by our guys over at Alumni Hall. Hey, with the game being in Athens this Saturday, why don't you stop by? Right? Stop by Alumni Hall, folks, and get yourself some nice gear. Listen, get yourself geared up for game day. It's football time in Athens, Saturday, 3:30. Get yourself a jersey, t-shirt, whatever, polo if you need it. Cold weather's coming. They're getting cold weather stuff in there too. Whatever you do, go in there, mention the DGD podcast, and you'll get 10% off your order. But if you can't make it in and you're watching on the TV, do yourself a favor, hit up our website, dgdpodcast.com. Go there to there. You can shop through Alumni Hall on our website, and 8% of your order will go to the Classic City Collective. Dan, let's jump into this. It's very weird to me that we go from playing Alabama right to Auburn. Coming off of that loss, what are your main thoughts as this game looms closer?
For me, the biggest thing is I want to see how Georgia responds. Right now, a lot of energy and a lot of energy got used in that comeback, and you wonder how and where their headspace is. And I think one of the biggest things that we forget is that these are kids or very young adults. I know some people get really agitated when you call them kids, but they're they're 19 to 22, 23-year-olds, 17 in some cases. Very young humans, and they're very susceptible to emotion. And that's you asked me what is the one thing that I'm really paying attention to is I'm paying attention to body language, just how they respond, because that was a lot. Last week was a lot. It was emotionally a lot. Getting kicked in the face so bad in the first half, and then coming all the way back and just narrowly missing it. So I am hoping that the dogs are coming out in a really good headspace and ready to play. And I think that more than anything, more than any X's and O's this week is what emotional state is this football team in? And that is the first thing that I'm going to be looking for, Robert.
Yeah, I'm looking to see how Georgia bounces back from the moment, right? If you're on social media, you heard Curry in the post game talking about one moment short, right? You sit there, you hear that, and I think moving forward now there's a sense of, you can say what you want. I think there's a sense of urgency that should be there. It should be there. I say should because I'm gonna need to see it first. I expect it. I expect them to come out and put belt to ass. That's what I need to see. I need it in my life, like Juvenile once said. But at the same time, I think you bring up an excellent point. Like, how do these guys bounce back from that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's going to be the ultimate telltale sign of this, because there's some crazy stats for this rivalry when it's in Athens. Like, it's crazy. Like, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't scored a point in the second half since 2008.
Wow.
Or a touchdown in the second half, I think.
Another thing to point out too, and I know this is like your favorite rivalry, and up until the Nick Fairley game, this was a rivalry that was pretty friendly. It was almost like we were. I mean, the way I had it explained to me whenever I was growing up was the Georgia Auburn rivalry is like we're kissing cousins. It's like we're exactly the same. Like they like the two programs for the longest time were exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then the crossover was crazy. Dye coaching over there, he was a Georgia guy, and we got Vince Dooley coaching for us, which is an Auburn guy. I mean, it's like it was just like incestual. The two schools were just intertwined. Like I said, I was explaining to me as kissing cousins, but I never had kissing cousins. I'm not from the South. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But in the '90s, Auburn coming to Georgia wasn't fun. It
No.
wasn't fun for us.
No. They used to beat the shit out of us.
So this entire series has completely been turned on its head, and you can pretty much thank Kirby for that.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. I kind of sit there and I mean, I was a little bit too young, but when you go back into it, you cannot sit here and include this moment. You cannot leave out this moment, I should say. You cannot leave out the moment where Uga tries to bite Robert Baker in '96. You just can't, right? It kind of, to me, I felt like that was a visualization and a good representation of how the rivalry, how deep it was. Yeah, until Lab McConkey. I thought that was fun. Lab McConkey goes and gets his flag pulled. This ain't flag football, but then you see that right there, and it's like that. Could that be the new iconic photo? I still think it's the Uga biting Robert Baker. Man, that was just iconic for me. But you sit there and you look at it though, right? You've got Hugh Freeze and really Georgia coming off of a loss, and then Auburn coming off of a just embarrassing loss more so than anything. It's just like when you look back to this game against Oklahoma, they had Oklahoma, and then they ended up losing it. Right, like two different styles of a loss, right? But there's a lot. I feel like there's way more confidence right now in Georgia, even with a loss, more so than Auburn, I would say. Right? You would agree?
Yes. And Jeff, who does a great job of doing the over and unders for us, puts over unders on my yawns at 33 in the next 33 minutes. I'm going to try to go. I'm going to try to go way under for you, Jeff. But it's a hell of a line by you.
No, that's a good line, yeah.
It's a hell of a line by you.
My man gonna have to sit there and let me talk and go get a monster or something.
Oh Lord.
But go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Your point.
I was going to transition to something different. So if you got anything there, you go for it.
You're good.
So I think for me, right, like we sit there, we talked about both teams coming off the loss. I just need to see – I want to see Carson Beck and the offense operate with efficiency and execute. Right? I think for me, this is probably the main thing that I want to see, right? So and I'm going to ask you the same question, all right, after I finish on this one. I need to see us execute an offense that's aggressive. I want to see aggression. We can do that, right? I feel like Kirby Smart kind of wants to bite his tongue on aggression on offense because of the fact of what it can cost you on defense. He's very team-oriented style football playing, and I understand that because it's worked. But at the same time, part of me as a fan was loving us humming on offense in the second half. And it's just like, this is the tempo that I wanted to see. You see the tempo, you see the execution start to hit things like that. And that's exciting. It's not like Georgia's offense typically is efficient, but it's not as explosive and flashy and stuff. And I understand that. But something about the Alabama game, the comeback for me just got me thinking, man, if we did this more often, man, we would – the tempo – obviously execution on making sure catches are, called and everything like that. If that's clicking and you do some tempo, this offense is lethal. Lethal.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I going into the game last week, I said that I want to see Bobo be aggressive, and I was going to be very upset if we lost to Alabama and we still left our bullets in our gun, right? If we didn't take our chances. So that loss last week, you could not put on Mike Bobo. Now, the execution wasn't great, right? In many instances, the execution wasn't great. However, the play calling was extremely aggressive. We took a lot of shots downfield. And to your point, I absolutely love that. Now, long term, we know that's sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not. So, yeah.
And that was one of the questions that Harrison had asked during our show was, what is the one thing in that game that you can take out of it that's sustainable, or that you expect to carry over? I think the defense making adjustments and then being able to corral an extremely high-powered offense, I think that's the most sustainable thing, that's going to go out there. But to your point, and the point that we're talking about right now, is that offense was a lot of fun to watch, but I don't think it's something that we can hang our hat on or really get used to, because while it's there and we know we have the ability to do it, they're not going to do that every single week. Just go balls out, air out, whatever. But the one thing offensively I do want to see is I want to see Carson be better, just be better. But we know he will be, because in games that, like, it's just the Alabama games. In his 2 years as a starting quarterback now, or a year and a third, or however you want to term it, the only 2 games where he's played bad at any point really was both Alabama games. So every other game he's freaking amazing. So that's what I expect out of him in this next game, is he's probably going to be freaking amazing again. So I don't know why I'm saying so much. I apologize for that. I'm sure that's annoying, but
I'm not mad at it.
It's what I expect. What I expect is Carson's probably going to be really freaking good again.
Well, I definitely see this being different, excuse me, than last year for sure. That was last year's game in Jordan-Hare. Damn, it was a very impactful moment for him as a quarterback. You just sit there, watch him struggle, watch us, go down at the half, and then will his way, show confidence, take strikes, take a hit in the pocket, things like that. All those moments kind of made that, like, brought him out onto the forefront, like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to go. A little bit different coming in Athens, right? You just took a loss. I'm hoping to see that kind of lethal assassin type feel to it. If that happens, I'm telling you right now, I don't know what else to say other than, sorry, Auburn, you're probably about to lose by 40. Ideally,
I think Jeff missed part of what I said. Jeff, what I've said is Carson Beck is really good every game except for the Alabama game. So that was what I said. I said my expectation is he'll be back to being really good Carson Beck again, because we're not playing Alabama.
Yeah, no, I think that's where I'm at with it. That's what I want to see most. I want to ask you the same question. What do you want to see most from this game Saturday?
What I want to see most is I want to see Georgia come out from the very beginning of the football game and absolutely hammer somebody. And that has been my frustration in multiple games this year, is the slow starts that Georgia got off to, is because in other games, in the Kentucky game, we were able to come back and win that football game. But the slow start that we got off to against Alabama, and I really chalk that up to emotion, right? Like, I don't feel like we met their emotion. And I don't feel like Georgia's coming out of the gates like I know this is a horrible or just an overplayed analogy, but when a horse is in the chute, ready, like at the Kentucky Derby or something like that, right? Like the minute that bell goes off, bam, they're shooting out like a rocket. And Georgia hasn't really done that in any game this year. And I want to see that racehorse that Kirby is just holding back and waiting for that bell and then releasing them at the bell. Because I want to see Georgia just jump out and stomp the shit out of somebody, to be completely honest. I mean, we saw so many times last year in so many games that we're all Georgia fans. And, we talk about, we want these big games. And last year there wasn't big games. And the one thing, I guess it was the second national championship season, the one thing that Georgia did is they beat people into submission. And those games were over early. Now, that's a little bit boring when that happens every single week, But it's been quite a while since we saw Georgia just come out and just beat the ever-living shit out of somebody from the opening bell. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, Harry.
We've stuck with offense a lot, but I want to see our missed tackles go away. I feel like that is so uncharacteristic on our end.
Preach.
It's something that you just have to right that wrong. You just have to. You have to find a way. I mean, we had 15 missed tackles against Kentucky and Alabama each. That tell me the last time you could go and count how many missed tackles we had like that. It's been a very long time. I would argue maybe 2016, maybe. You have to shore that up. You have to. If you don't, it's going to be another long night. I think another thing too would be finding a way to, and you're with Auburn doing the RPOs as much as they do, you're going to need Malachi Starks to get that shit right. You're going to have to, because he's going to be, him and the safeties are going to be.
Are we worried about Malachi Starks?
No, I'm just saying I just need to see him fix it from last week. I need to see it different than last week, because it felt like he was off a little bit with that. In regards to tackling is what I mean. I need to see if he's more of a confident striker and tackler this week. I think he'll be just fine. That's all I want to see.
Shit, I'm worried about Malachi Starks is not near the top of him, brother. He may have not had the best game, but he that I promise you, that kid, if he'll be working to get it right. So if you want to see something corrected out of Malachi Starks, I would go ahead and put that on your chalkboard and ink.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I just want to make sure that replication doesn't happen again. That's all. If it doesn't, then I know we'll be fine easily. But and that's the thing with the safeties though, because they run the RPOs like that, you're going to need your linebackers, you're going to need your safeties to really be involved. Mm-hmm. And I'm not questioning Dan Jackson. I'll tell you that right now. Dan Jackson, buddy, y'all can say what y'all want, but he will come down and strike anybody. He don't give a damn who you are.
Dan Jackson had a good week. Okay, not only did he have a good week on the field, he had a good week off the field too, because there were a lot of pundits that had Dan Jackson's name in their mouth in a positive type of way, and they, from Shannon Sharp to who was it? Ocho Cinco. There was a bunch of different guys on their podcast and stuff this week that the name Dan Jackson kept coming up, and the common theme with all of those people is that boy can play, and he's going to play on Sundays. And
I did hear that about that. He got mentioned on Nightcap, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a couple different platforms where his name got brought up, and he was a topic of conversation about this guy has an opportunity, has the ability to play at the next level. And what a great thing for that young man too, because if you think about when he walked on, it was kind of a novelty. And now I have a different relationship because I covered that almost every single one of that kid's high school games for 4 years, because the radio station that I worked for, North Hall, bought one of the stations. I mean, not like bought it every day of the week, but you know what I mean, bought the programming on that station, and we did nothing but North Hall games for 4 years. So I saw virtually every one of Dan Jackson's games. So I never felt like he was a novelty item. I knew how fast he was. And the one thing that you can't coach is speed. And when you're a kid who's that damn fast and tough, okay, he's a tough son of a gun also. Those two things play at any level. I think it's awesome that the world is starting to really catch on to him. And, like, look at the guy, and I know it's the lazy thing to do, but the Harrison Smith, who's the free safety for Baltimore, and he's been there for what, 10 or 12 years? I mean, he's been there a long ass time. I mean, I could see a career like that. Why not?
While we're on the topic of Dan Jackson, I just got to say one thing.
Dangerous. No one is to go near them.
Just say it. I'll just say it. He's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Go ahead.
Since you wanted to talk a little bit about defense, I was fairly happy with the defensive front, and I know that was one of the
Mhm.
question marks that we had because we were so thin. We were wondering how they were going to be able to hold up through the course of the game. And you can say whatever you want to about the front of that Alabama has, but they're going to be good. They may not be as good as maybe they once were, but they're as good once as they ever was.
I see what you did there, Toby.
But no, that offensive line is a solid offensive line, and I thought our defense held up well. I was interested because I have not gone back and rewatched the game at all. I have stayed away from rewatching that game. Michael Williams, I know he played.
I didn't feel like he was 100% healthy, not even close.
I didn't feel like he really made an impact one way or the other. Am I off? Am I wrong? I don't. Like I said, I was so emotional during the game that I wasn't really evaluating anything.
I think he was still limited, man, because if you watch that first drive, he was still kind of hobbling around, right? It kind of felt like he was trying to force it back on the field, and I'm glad he didn't get hurt. Jeff also mentions regards to the injury report. Well, not injury report, but for Jeff specifically, but he is probable. So I'm curious to see how healthy he is. But I think you're right, though. I don't think he made as much an impact, and I kind of get it, right? Because if you're not healthy, I don't expect you to be, you know what I mean? I don't expect you to be that much of an impactful.
I just hope he didn't re-injure himself.
No, I know. And Jeff said to him he thought it was 70%. I get that.
I just wanted to make sure that my evaluation wasn't off because, like I said, I know I was emotional during the game, and I couldn't focus on it. So I'm
Chase White said he was limping pretty bad.
I'm just glad you guys are all in alignment with me, so I don't feel so bad now.
I do need to see our edge play. I want to see our edge play. Make sure that Peyton Thorne or Hank Brown or whatever his name is, whoever's playing their quarterback, doesn't do what Peyton Thorne did last year. Because I swear to God, if I see a 60-yard run from Peyton Thorne, I'm going to puke. I will. I'm going to be so mad.
Who was I'm sorry to interrupt you right here, but was it Warren Brinson that got to Milroe early and absolutely just buried him in the turf? And they pointed out that would have been a big flag in the NFL, but
I think that was. I think it was.
Was it? I can't tell. I don't remember if it's Brinson or not, but I was happy to see it. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but if you can't get up and play, I'm okay with it.
No, I was glad that he got a hit on him. I mean, because that's something you wanted to see, right? But I think you've got that's another one. Chase said it may have been Christian Miller.
Okay,
maybe.
Either way, something.
It was Miller then. I think you need to. I think you
mad.
need to make. Yeah, definitely want to see defensive line create pressure up in the interior. I think you have to make sure Jarquez Hunter doesn't get going.
I think Jeff is 100% right. That defensive front has got to start putting bodies on the ground. Period. Any type of way.
Yeah, and I think that's. I want to kind of transition now. All right, we've talked enough about the defense, what we want to see. Let's talk about impact players. Let's do our impact player segment.
Okay.
So we'll each do, like you and me collectively, we'll do two players on Georgia and 2 players on Auburn that you think could be impact players, kind of similar to what we did last week for the Bama preview. I'll let you start. You want to start with Georgia or Auburn first?
I'll do Auburn. All right. So my 2 impact players are for Auburn, whoever plays quarterback. And we don't know which one it is. And my other impact player for Auburn is Hugh Freeze, because Hugh Freeze has been the center of all of the attention, and maybe that's by design. I don't know, but he has been an absolute dick here recently. And Bo Wallace went on a personal crusade to let everybody know what a piece of trash. And I know we do that segment. Your team is trash. Your coach is trash, and his name is Hugh Freeze. and he was talking so much shit about his quarterbacks. And Bo Wallace came out and was like, you know what? You didn't care about me when you stuck my body full of those needles so I could play for you. And then you were quick to throw me under the bus, and you don't give a crap about my career. I mean, he went on the full out offensive on Hugh Freeze. And my biggest question mark for Auburn to this point is A, obviously who plays quarterback, because that's really, really important. But then B, Hugh Freeze, and how does this team respond to him? Because with the way he's just with the reckless abandon that he's throwing his players under the bus, I'm not 100% sure he can get them motivated to play for him. Now, maybe I'll be mistaken, and maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe we'll see the greatest Auburn team we've ever seen in the history of Auburn. I don't know. Maybe the Georgia G, pulling into Athens is going to do it for him and wake him up. But I think even outside of the damn quarterback, I think Hugh Freeze is such a important part of this game. So who's your Auburn people?
I think first things first, I'm gonna go on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm gonna go Jalen McLeod, a transfer from App State. I think so the reason I say that, I think you could use him or Kedrick Falk, right? Both of those guys. But I think with what McLeod brings to the Auburn team, the physicality, the quickness and stuff like that, he has a potential to cause some disruption on our tackles because we struggled with that and what he's able to do. If you're Auburn, you hope that he can get behind the tackles and get to Carson Beck, if you will. I kind of want to. There's some on the offense that I want to talk about, but I'm just sitting here thinking about it, and I think defensively this is too big of a matchup for me to not include this in an impact player. If you're Auburn, you really need one of those DBs to step up because you've lost. I think it's Champ's his name. You lose him, so I mean you're looking at Kyan Lee, right? Cedar Grove boy. Is he going to step up? And I mean he plays physical. I like his style of play. But you're going to, without Champ there, you really need to have an elevated game for the cornerbacks. But I think Kyan Lee could be the one to step up the most. I think he's going to get attacked the most, right? That's just what I'm thinking with it. If I had to choose anything on offense, I think you're looking at Keandre Lambert-Smith. If I had to go offense, but I had to go to defense. Keandre Lambert-Smith is going to be the guy on that offense. I think what you'll see is big body receiver. Auburn always has that kind of guy. They really do. But he's that guy. They've actually used him more than you would think with Cam Coleman. They've actually used him more. So I think that's an offensive name, but I'm sticking with my two. McLeod and Kyan Lee.
All right. And what about offense? I'll let you go offense first because I know ours won't match up.
You talking about for Georgia?
Yeah, for Georgia. You go Georgia.
If I'm having to do anything, I want to see Anthony Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Evans, give Carson Beck some time in some situations last week, and Anthony Evans has an absolutely insane day. Like if you go back and rewatch the tape, I know the situation's kind of off, right? But if you go back and watch the pick that he threw at the end zone in the last minute, just look at Anthony Evans on the bottom of the screen. I understand he didn't maybe look that way, but it was wide open. And with how much man Auburn does, this is a good time for Anthony Evans to get more run and be explosive. I think you see a chunk explosive play from him, if not more. Do you want me to go to defense, or do you want to pick your offensive guy?
You can just do your second person, whoever you want.
My second impact player, Jalen Walker. Definitely going to get more run because Smile Mondon. Something going on with Smile. Don't really know the extent of it. Don't really know what's going on. Don't know a timeline or anything. But he went immediately Wednesday, and he was out. With that being said, you're looking at C.J. Allen and Jalen Walker now. Jalen Walker is going to play more by default, right? It's good. It's a good problem for us because we've been trying to find a way to get him on the field more by design, and now by force we keep him on the field unless you get him a break. I think he has a very good chance of creating disruption and getting Peyton Thorne. Now with the RPOs, part of me wonders how this works because with the RPOs, it's very quick oriented. So you have to catch them on like an RPO play action to maybe, get a disruption and everything like that. Because a lot of RPOs are pretty quick. But I just want to see him disrupt passing lanes and, see if he can get to the quarterback. I think Jalen Walker's the guy to do it. So those are my two impact players if you're Georgia. What about you, Dan?
All right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and just hear me out. For me, the first most important thing is not necessarily one player; it's a position group, it's the edge group, right? Is keeping whatever quarterback is inside the pocket, making him stay on schedule and not being able to extend the plays. Because I feel like Georgia's secondary is so good or good enough to cover within the allotted amount of time. If you allow one of these quarterbacks to extend the plays or get outside the pocket and start finding some running success, I think it could be a long day for Georgia. So I think it's very imperative that our edge keeps the game, inside the pocket and makes them stay on schedule. Because if they do that, I think Georgia can handle this offensive group really, really well. And then the second one for me, and this has been kind of a building thing, is I guess if you wanted to put a name on it, you could go ETN, but it's the running back room. Like I have been really, really, really excited for this running back group. I thought we had a lot of diversity. I thought we had a lot of different options available, but I have not. I hate being critical like this, but I just really have not been happy with the running back room, and that doesn't mean on every play. It's as a whole totality. They have not done what I thought they would be able to do. Maybe part of it is not their fault, but some of it definitely is their fault. So I need to see a really productive day out of that running back room. And if you want to put a name on it, sure, I guess you could put an ETN because he's the lead dog. At least he's supposed to be. I know how talented he is, and I know that he has done some nice things for us. I just want to see him put the whole damn thing together because I think that group has a chance to be really, really special. Like I said, there's so many different layers in that room, guys that are different from each other. And I think that's one of the things that has been missing out of the running back room is the diversity. Like we had, with Sony, Michelle, and Nick Chubb, they were completely different. Now they were both very talented, but they're very different. And Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall. Yeah, they were different running backs. And then this last couple of years, it felt like a lot of the guys were very similar. So I was excited for this room, and they have not lived up to my expectations to this point. So I'm wanting to see that. I think it's a key factor for the Dogs. That running back room becomes extremely productive, then everything opens up for Carson.
100%. So there's a couple. So we asked a live chat to drop their impact players. Got a couple good ones here. Got Lawson Lucky. Lawson Lucky. Lights out so far. I thought that was excellent for Mr. Hightough himself. And then Colby Young and Carson on offense from Chase White. I thought those were two good ones. I definitely want to see Colby play bigger. I mean, act like you're 6'4", right? Box people out. Like, I want to see that. Go attack the ball. Be big. You're 6'4", dude. Like, be big. You got the body size, and trust me, if depending on who guards you, dude, I could only fathom Dan putting Kyan Lee on a guy like Colby Young. 6-inch mismatch right there, dude. You got to take advantage of that though, if that happens.
Right.
Any honorable mentions that you want to throw out there? We've had our 2 picks, but do you have any honorable mentions?
Dominic Lovett has been really good this year, but he hasn't had the game. Like, I think most people thought him to be far and away the leading receiver. And to me, and this is without any stats in front of me at all. So
it's been Arian, it feels like.
Arian has been the lead dog. I've heard some people say they wanted to see Arian round into more of a complete receiver and not just a deep threat. Now, he has 100% done that. That has happened, but I don't recall anybody coming out saying that Arian Smith was going to be the lead dog every single week. And it feels like he has.
We were preaching for consistency in the offseason, man.
Right.
Listen, that's just something that we saw. We just wanted to make sure that the stuff that happened last season stayed in last season. And so far, outside of a couple drops in the Alabama game, you could say that's happened, and I
Well-
think it's a pleasant surprise. And at the same time, I don't think I had that on my 2024 bingo card that you could see him as kind of like, 'cause I just don't
Complete.
see him as the receiver one, right?
Mhm.
But if that's just how it's going to be, that's just how it's going to be. As long as we're winning ball games,
And
I'm not one to judge too much.
the other area avenue that I would go is one of these tight ends, and Lawson Lucky's been doing a great job of blocking and catching balls, but somebody's gonna have to stretch the field out of that tight end room. Like that's the one thing that we don't have with Bowers gone, is we don't have that tight end that's running down the seams that's really putting pressure on the defense. One of those guys needs to. That was supposed to be Delp, and he just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I want to take a second, Dan. I want to do this. I want to talk football, but I want to talk some stats, some fun facts, if you will, before we get back to football. I'm going to read off some fun facts here, and I want to see if you knew any of this. Did you know that Auburn has lost 7 in a row to Georgia?
I wouldn't have been able to tell you that number, but I don't.
2017 was the last game.
Yeah, sounds right.
Auburn has lost 10 of the last 11 to Georgia. Auburn has lost to Georgia every year since 2013, which I don't believe that's to be the case because we lost in 2017. No. They beat. That's right. That is right. I forgot. We won, and then they beat Alabama to go to the SEC title game. That's right. Lost the last 12 of the last 14, 16 of the last 19. By the way, they haven't won a game in Athens since 2005. And in their last 9 games versus Georgia, away from Jordan Hare, Auburn has scored just 1 touchdown after the first quarter, and they've been outscored 248-46 in that span.
Damn it, boy!
Fuck Auburn. You deserve it. You deserve it.
What year was the blackout game?
08.
Yeah, that shit was.
That was wild.
Woo! That was an ass whipping.
Hold on. Let's do this. What's your favorite memory of an Auburn game? There's a lot of good moments.
I can tell you my least favorite moment. Trey
2013?
Matthews hit that freaking ball and it bounced up, and they caught that shit and ran it.
Ray and Jordan Hare. Yeah.
That's my least favorite. I honestly I can't tell you my favorite Auburn. I don't know.
I mean, there's a couple of ones, but I think for me, Muhammad Masqua's reception at the 08.
Oh, the back of the end zone?
When Stafford throws it, Muhammad Masqua wide open. Yeah, that was so much fun. That right there. And then also in the SEC title game when DeAndre Swift just took it.
And Kirby was chasing down the field.
Yeah, and then you got Scott Howard on the call. He ran it back to Philadelphia. I was like, oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. No, I thought those were fun.
I don't know. Like I've never been that emotional about. Like I said, I can tell you the ones that I don't like more than I could tell you any of the ones like the other one that sticks in my head is that cheap ass shot that Nick Fairley put on Aaron Murray.
Still pissed me off today. Pissed me off.
Yeah, the majority of the people my age didn't have a problem in the world with Auburn until that day.
I was, the interesting part about it when that game happened, I was stationed in Charleston, and this is, I think, to your point, I think this is what really set it off for me because not only did I watch it happen, I heard Auburn fans that I worked with come in and talk about it. Like, yeah, I hope you sit there. And I was like, this is why I hate Auburn. And it just erupted inside of me, man. I was like, this is why I can't stand Auburn. I got to do this, man. My favorite Georgia player going back, same blackout game, no Sean Marino's cut that had Auburn just looking silly. You probably don't even remember the play, but I remember Vernon Lundquist just sitting there talking about no Sean, and then he cuts back inside, and he just does a one-step cut, and it just two Auburn defenders just crashing each other, just make them look stupid. So shout out to no Sean on that. That play was beautiful. I was like, he's about to cut it back, and he cut it back, and I was just like, fuck yeah. And it just looked good. It looked so clean. Yeah, sorry. I told you this is my one. Dan, this is my one.
Well, I mean, I have a reason to absolutely hate Auburn too. I just has nothing to do with
Just
Georgia.
let that hate out, brother.
So I have a personal story with Auburn. So
Ooh, those get juicy. Is this off air stuff or?
no, well, I mean, I was going to Auburn to play football, and on signing day, they said that they were taking Damon Duvall, and they're giving him a scholarship, and he could kick and punt, and they didn't need me to go kick fucking rocks.
Gives you a good reason to hate them.
So I didn't have a national signing day. I never had that day. I didn't have that day. I had to go find another place because the other schools that I had, Mississippi State and Northwestern, had already moved on.
Yeah.
I had nobody. So I ended up going to freaking Mars Hill.
Hey, good old North Carolina, a little bit western North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Mars Hill. Is it Panthers?
No, Lions.
Lions. I remember it was a cat. I forgot which one it was. It's been a long time since I heard of Mars Hill, buddy. But no, it's just one of those things where like there's a reason to hate them. Like, and I wish Auburn fans were in this chat right now because I'd let them know too. You can piss. I'll piss on your grave. I don't care. I can't stand. I don't care. Just like you ain't losing an ounce of sleep. If they hurt you, they feelings hurt. I don't care. Just don't. Jeff Hightower says Anthony Evans would be nice as we don't have any explosive wide receivers. I think we do. We just got to take shots, and I think Alabama game was a confidence booster in that. He says he has Jalen dominating as well. He says we're missing Roderick Robinson. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, he had, what was it? Wait, I always get the two Robinsons mixed up. Roderick is the one that just absolutely bullied everybody, right?
Roderick's like 6'3", 240.
Was it the TCU game or was it the FSU game that he went off? I can't.
That was. Repeat the question. No, repeat the question so make sure.
Roderick Robinson had a good run. Like there was a somebody in the chat.
It was Florida State. It was Florida State.
Was it Florida State that
he came in and he was just
they couldn't tackle him.
He stiff armed him and just kept running. He was fast. Yeah.
It was Florida State. You I'm extremely tired and my brain is not working right now.
I'm working with you. All
right.
I'm trying.
I know you are, buddy. You're doing a great job.
But no, I think we are. I like what Roderick brings, and when you compare it with ETN and Branson, I'd like to see more confidence out of Branson still. At the same time, that kind of injury, in my head, I've given it some time. I'm trying to give it time. I understand it's a huge injury to happen and get over that mental hump. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be patient with that. I can't be mad at it. But let's do this. Let's do a steps to success, or excuse me, keys to victory. Sorry. So keys to victory. If you were Georgia, Dan, how do you see this game going to be? If you're going to be a victory for Georgia, how's it going to happen?
Don't drink too much the night before and be hungover and show up to the game at the correct time. If Georgia does those two things, we will win this football game.
I like that. That's my style right there. That is absolutely my style.
I hate to be so flippant, but it's freaking Auburn. They're a really bad football team right now. And if you need me to give you keys to victory over Auburn, then, I don't know what to tell you, because it's don't be freaking hungover and show up to the game at the right time.
Make sure you drive the speed limit too.
Yes. God damn it. You had to say that.
Well, the problem is you don't want to be a Tyreek Hill situation.
I know somebody's going to get a damn ticket or something now.
If it happens, you can come back and
you put it in the ethos.
I want to be the person that creates the antivirus or the anti-curse of it.
I hear you, brother.
I'm trying to speak it out of existence. This is what I want to do. I'll do what you didn't want to do. If you're Georgia, I think what you need to do is, I think, get Carson back comfortable, score, score, right? And then I think you need to see efficient tackling. If you can run to the ball, team speed I think should be a lot better this week. Pursuit to the ball, tackle the man with the ball, limit explosives. There's no reason why Gunnar Stockton won't be seeing snaps in the fourth quarter. So be efficient on offense, be aggressive and tackle on defense, and there you go. Very long story short. Now, this might be fun, Dan. If you are Auburn, how do you win this game? What are your keys to victory if you're Auburn?
You've got to be able to control the clock. You've got to be able to control the turnovers. You're going to have to turn Georgia over a couple times. You're going to have to get short fields to operate on, and you're going to have to pay it off, right? So not only are you going to have to turn over Georgia, but then you're going to have to score on them, capitalize on them. That's the only way to this. I don't see a scenario where they can trade punches with Georgia and win. I don't see that playing out. What I do see, if in an upset scenario, and it's the recipe for upsets across the board. You have a team that overlooks the other. I can do that because I'm not on the team and I don't affect anybody, right? So I can say some bull crap like I just said, and it don't matter. But if Georgia players are looking at it that way, that Auburn is just a hot mess and they ain't got to worry about them, that could be a problem. Or coming into the game hungover, and I don't mean physically hungover. I mean like that Alabama. Don't let Alabama beat you twice. How about that? Right? Maybe the best way for Alabama, maybe the best way for Auburn to beat Georgia is for Alabama to beat Georgia twice.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
The hangover. I mean, it's crazy. We knew this was coming, maybe in a little bit different fashion, but at the same time, we knew that it's going to be interesting because you're playing Alabama, then turning around and playing Auburn, which is a big rivalry too. So you've got to be prepared if you're Georgia on that. I think my keys to victory for Auburn, first off, you got to generate some explosive plays. Get the crowd out of it. Dude, I want to let Auburn fans know there's a reason why we put y'all as homecoming. We find it utterly disrespectful, and we don't care. We don't care. Now, to be fair, we don't have a lot of time because you go on the road to Texas and everything, and it would just be time, But at the same time, it's just for me, I'm loving it because Auburn fans took this shit so personal. So personal. But good. And then also you probably need prayer. Hugh Freeze is a good Christian man apparently from Liberty. So get you some situation there. Maybe he can bring the Spirit of God on your side. You'll probably need it. Those are your keys to victory. We've talked enough about this game. Damn.
Caden fucking Ellis.
Huh?
The Buccaneers were about to put away the Falcons, and we just recovered a fumble. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, who?
Caden Ellis is the linebacker.
For all the Falcons fan, you're getting alive in real time. Dan,
my man scheduled a game during the Falcons game. This is twice now. Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football.
Listen, we're in Georgia. We're I ain't no fucking Panther. Calm your ass down. Just because I live up here don't mean I pull for them. I don't even pull for NFL in general.
All right.
Let's do this. We've got over-unders. Let's do over-unders. We'll do quick over-under, and then we'll get to our picks of the week.
Jeff, I just want you to know that this is the reason I show up on Thursdays is to do your over-unders. That's literally the only reason I'm here. I mean, screw Robert. I come for your over-unders.
There you go. You heard it here first. Over-unders for the week. Lawson Lucky, 2.5 receptions. Under 2.5 receptions for Lawson Lucky.
I like that number. That's a good number. I'm going to go over. I think he's right at 3.
I think he goes 4.
All right.
I'm going to go over on that. He's earned them. Them.
I'm not saying this because I don't think that we're going to be throwing that much at the end of the game, so I don't think it's.
I still think you could get him involved early. There's no reason not to.
All right.
So I'm going to go over on that as well, for sure. So both of us have the over on Lawson Lucky, 2.5 receptions. Next one, Nate Frazier, 6.5 rushing attempts. Does Nate Frazier get 6.5 rushing attempts?
You go first.
I'm going to go over because I think it's going to be one of those games where we put it out of hand and he will get the ball just by volume.
I agree. It makes me nervous when we're going over on everything, but I agree.
I understand. I understand. Next one, Georgia defense, 1.5 takeaways. Auburn is very turnover friendly.
Yes, they are.
Do they get two? Do they get two?
Yeah, they get more than 1.5.
I see picks happening in this game, but I'm gonna go under. I think they get one pick.
Okay.
They get one pick, and if I'm wrong on this, I'll be glad to be wrong because I want them to go over anyway. I just feel like for some reason we'll tackle the ball and we'll stop them and force them to punt a lot. I'm curious to see how many turnovers we get. I think we just don't. I think we get a lot of havoc, but not a lot of turnovers. And as long as we're creating havoc, I'm okay. Next one, Dylan Bell, half a touchdown reception. Does Dylan Bell get a touchdown this week?
That one's tough, man. I wish that it was total touchdowns. Yeah, like just any type of way. Again, I don't like going over on everything, but I guess I got to go over because I think he's going to score a touchdown. And maybe it's in the air this week because I think it was on the ground last week, right? Wasn't it on the end around?
I believe so. Yeah, it was. It was.
But he is a big focal point in the offense, so I think I'll take over.
I'm gonna take under. I think it's a little bit different. I think Arian Smith and Anthony Evans, Lawson Lucky, maybe even a Colby Young end zone touchdown. But I think it could be a heavy rushing game touchdown, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. If I'm wrong again, I'm wrong. But I'm going to go under because I think it's a heavy running game touchdown. Carson Beck, 280 passing yards, over or under?
Under. I just don't think we're throwing that much.
I'm torn because if we go over, it's because we're putting the game out of hand. That's what I'm hoping. And then let them run the ball. Because I think you want to establish that confidence and build from it. That means be aggressive early, right? Get them out of the game, and then get Gunnar Stockton in, get your reserves in, get those guys some reps. I'd love to see that. For that sake, I'm going over on that. Going over. So there's your over. There's your over-unders. Mr. Hightough will keep track of those. Let me know who picked over-under again because I will forget. Just going to happen. And now we move to the picks of the week. Dan, this is going to be fun. I think week 6 is a pretty interesting slate of football. We'll say that. And we'll start off first with this one. Number 4, Tennessee Volunteers going to Arkansas and taking on those Razorbacks. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's a clean sweep. Clean sweep. I don't really see this being a true game, but if it is a close game, it will be fun to watch. Do you agree?
No, I don't think this game is going to be fun to watch at all.
Fair point. Fair point. I'll tell you what game is not going to be fun to watch whatsoever, and I don't care if you're fans or not. UCF going to the Swamp and playing Florida. I'm just going to let that be known. I don't know how to feel about this. This could be this could be the toilet bowl right here. This is a bowl game in the regular season, and it's not a good one. Here's our picks. Myself, Keon, Juan, and the Brigade going with UCF. Dan, you and Kobe are riding with the Gators. What do you see that made you pick Florida?
I just don't have any respect for UCF.
Fair point. It's because of the Gus bus, ain't it?
It is.
I can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at it. I want both teams to lose. Could we get that? I wish.
That'd be great.
I wish. Let's do the next one. Ole Miss. This might be a sneaky good game here. Number 12, Ole Miss, traveling to Columbia, Willie B, and taking on the Gamecocks. Clean sweep, though. Clean sweep. Everyone thinks Ole Miss will bounce back. Will it surprise you if South Carolina gives them a closer game or beats them? Would it surprise you?
It would shock the pants off of me, and I would lose a lot of money, so I don't want that to happen.
Oh, yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Moving on to the next one. SMU taking on number 22, Louisville Cardinals in Kentucky. I think this is an interesting game, but everyone except Juan has SMU and the Pony Express pulling this thing out on the road, might I add. I really would like to know what Juan sees. Maybe is the ranking, but I'm not going to speak for him because I don't want to be wrong here. However, Juan does have it, the Lone Ranger, when it comes to the Louisville Cardinals. Next matchup, Navy and Air Force. Oh man, this hits home for me. This hits home. Being an Air Force guy myself. Let's see what happens. Everyone picks Navy. Air Force, I'm sorry, you're just not a good team this year.
Okay, how could you, if you're an Air Force guy, how can you pick against Air Force? That's like,
okay,
it's not allowed.
it fucking hurts. That's what it is. But you know what? I've got to catch up and I've got to win. Okay, I've got to win, so I've got to be smart.
I don't even know what the standings are. Am I still ahead?
Yeah, no, actually, Jaden pulled ahead. He is up by 2 points, 54-52, I believe it is. So you're catching up to a 6-year-old just like I am. Just letting you know. Next matchup, I think this is going to be an interesting one. Duke, Georgia Tech, and Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. I've got Duke. So did you, Dan. Brigade's got Duke. Keon, Kobe, and Juan have Georgia Tech. And I think this is going to be a good matchup. You know, honestly, Duke, if they win this game, will be bowl eligible already.
You know, here's the thing.
So there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake for them.
I actually meant to write down Georgia Tech, but I wrote Duke out of habit because I just hate Georgia Tech so much, and I just didn't change it.
Can't be mad at it.
I
will tell you this. They've got Duke has a defender that's basically almost tops in the country for pressures and stuff like that. I think you can cause Hans King some problems.
I think Georgia Tech's got a really good quarterback, and I think Georgia Tech has a really good offensive coordinator. So I think they're going to beat a lot of games.
I think that's a game you probably want to watch. I think that'll turn out to be an all right game. I think that'll be an all right game. This one will be interesting. Iowa, Ohio State, number 3 ranked Buckeyes. Don't really know how to feel about this.
Yeah, define interesting.
I think this will be Will Howard's first true defensive test, if you will. Iowa still has a good defense,
right? So
actually better offense. I'm just curious to see how Ohio State attacks them offensively. If Iowa tries to force Will Howard to beat them with his arm, that's what's going to be exciting and intriguing to me. This is how that goes. This one I think has the potential to be one of the best games of the week. Rutgers taking on Nebraska. I think this is going to be a very interesting game. Here are the results for this. Everyone but Juan going with Nebraska. Everybody's got the Cornhuskers to win this. Juan's choosing the Rutgers. And listen, the Schianos, they're fighting Schianos. That's a good defensive bunch, by the way. So I'm not going to discredit that pick because I like that defensive game plan that they do a lot. I just think Raiola has got it in them to win at home again. That's just where I'm at with it. Here we go. Deep South Sodas rivalry, folks. Auburn Tigers, Georgia Bulldogs, number 5th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Auburn coming in, hosting them. Dan, we know it's a clean sweep. You don't have to, but do you want to throw a score prediction for this game?
No, I am so done with score predictions. Let me just tell you, I am so freaking done with score predictions. I'm so bad at them when it comes to Georgia. I think in the history of podcasts and me trying to give score predictions, I've gotten one even remotely close to being right, and the rest of them were so effing wrong. No, I am done. Done.
That's
Georgia
hilarious.
fucking wins. That's all that matters.
I'm gonna try to give mine. I'm gonna go 41 to 10. I'm gonna go 41 to 10.
I go Georgia.
Georgia, of course. Yeah. Jaden, all right, here we go. Jaden delivers again. Let's see if this happens here. Missouri, number 9 Missouri, going to Kyle Field against Texas A&M. This is going to be fun, Dan. Do we follow in Jaden's footsteps because we are behind him? Does everybody follow suit? What do you think?
I have no idea who he picked.
So Jaden did pick Missouri in this one.
Oh, well, then
he picked the Tiger.
Of course.
I've got A&M though. I've got A&M. I'm doubling down on it. I'll be the double. I don't care. I do think that Marcel Reed, as Texas A&M's quarterback, does bring an extra dynamic that that Connor Weigman does not. I like Marcel Reed, and you've got home cooking. I don't trust this Missouri team enough just yet. I just don't. I know they've got Luther, and I know they've got a decent offense, right? I just don't know how that defense is going to handle on the road. So give me A&M in the upset. Give me A&M on the upset. We move. Speaking of upset alert, I've got Michigan, and Dan has Michigan beating Washington. I saw this +2. We put this early. I saw Michigan +2, and I felt like that was a slap in the face. That's easy. It should be very easy to do. So we both have Michigan over Washington. Keon has Syracuse over UNLV tomorrow night at +6.5. Kobe has Missouri over A&M. A&M is a slight favorite, 2.5-point favorite. So Missouri is a 2.5-point dog on the road. And Juan has the Fighting Dillinghams over Utah, the Trash, at +17. Buddy has taken it to the extreme on these upset alerts, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm not mad at all. Moving on to the locks of the week. I have Penn State beating UCLA. The spread, -27.5. I don't think Penn State covers, though. I think they win, but they do not cover. Keon and Kobe have Clemson covering the spread against Florida State in Tallahassee. Juan has Oregon covering the spread against Michigan State -24. Dan, you have Ole Miss over Carolina, -9. How are you feeling? Still feeling good about this? Feel good about these?
Yeah.
I mean, you're up in the points, or you're second anyway. So I would feel confident if I were you. I'm getting there. I'm closing the gap. So I'll take it from there. Juan's down in last place, by the way, for those that are curious. So we're going to pull this up. Here is your visual of all the recap for the picks. Dan, I feel like this is going to be a good slate of college football games here. My takeaway is most of these games, we kind of went clean sweep and we picked a lot of commonalities. We'll see where we stand after this weekend. But I think as we move forward, we're going to know more about each team and go from there. Before we wrap this up, Dan, any final thoughts? Anything you got to get off your chest before Saturday's game?
I just need to flush that Alabama game. Like that was just such an emotional roller coaster.
Move past it. Yeah,
just move past it. And I need Georgia to – this needs to be a game where I can just enjoy watching football again.
I think it'll happen. I feel you.
That's it. That's all I got.
I feel you there. I think the last thing I'm going to say before we wrap things up, fuck Auburn. If you're an Auburn fan, listen to this, fuck you. I can't stand you.
Damn it, boy.
And if we lose, come at me, but I don't see that happening. So you might as well just hold off on it because there ain't no reason for you to be talking anyway because y'all are fucking trash and you know it. You absolutely know it. I can't wait for you to get fired and blame your quarterback again.
Damn it, boy.
I told you this is mine. This is mine.
All right.
With that being said, if you're a Georgia fan, thank you for tuning in. If you're an Auburn fan, good luck Saturday. Don't drink too much. With that being said, we're going to end the stream. We're going to end the show. We will catch y'all Monday for the preview or for the recap. I'm signing off. That's Robert. That's Dan.